What is it with these guys, man? What is it with these guys who can't simply sort themselves out, who can't get right, and just oppose fascism and racism and authoritarianism full stop? They always have to get weird with it. They always have to get clever with it. They always have to find some sideways path. Joe Rogan is talking now again about being a centrist, about how politics is all just a silly game where you're forced to pick a team, and he's not comfortable with that. He can't figure out what team he wants to belong to. It's 2026, Joe. If you can't figure out what team to join in 2026, I don't think you're fit for this life. You can look at someone like Joe Rogan, you can look at people like Tim Pool, and you can point out that there is money involved, and that's true. But it clearly doesn't explain them fully. It doesn't explain how they got started and how they got to where they are. And it doesn't explain all of their millions of followers. You know what I think it is? I think guys, particularly guys like this, in this space of like independent, undecided sort of politics, I think to a large extent their politics is constructed around a need to never feel vulnerable. Because if you take up a strong position on the left, if you are vocal and serious about fairness, equality, inclusion, if you dare to step out and speak up in favor of trans rights, if you concern yourself about the environment, at some point, a guy in your peer group, in a social situation, is going to pick up on what you are about and go, pfft. Or they might even get really wild and go, gay. You might get made fun of. And that's intolerable to these guys. And so they construct an entire politics around not being so openly fascist and racist that they have to pay that social cost, but also not being so anti-fascist and anti-racist and anti-homophobic that they have to pay that social cost. They don't want to pay the social cost. They don't want to suffer the social consequences in either direction. And so they just end up in the middle. The thing is, they're not completely wrong. Defending democracy, defending inclusion, defending fairness and equity in society, these things they're going to feel a little bit cringe sometimes. But it's 2026. I feel like we have spent enough time exploring the alternative to a little bit of cringe, which is a lot of creep. A lot of very weird, creepy stuff. And more of these guys have to get the memo, and if they're not getting it, we have to give it to them, that if you are so brittle that you can never afford to be seen as vulnerable at all any of the time, then you're not that tough. Then you're a problem, and then you need to get out of the way. Anyways.